Hello everyone, my name is Yuri Kasdorp from Mouse, and we're back with another track guide. This time the last week of the season, week 12. And we are at a very dark and very wet road Atlanta. So, just the end of the season, iRacing tries to throw you a curveball with, I think, one of the hardest combos I've ever seen in iRacing. Very tricky to drive, so let's get right into some tips to help you survive these races. Alright, so here we are. As you can see, or maybe not, last sector for Atlanta still. And it's very hard to see not just the track in places, but especially where the dry and wet lines are, which is making this really tricky. The last corner we want to run 2 tires off the dry line, that way we have a bit of rotation. Go back on power. First corner I like to brake a bit from the inside. Then turn 3, keep it on the dry line. Run a bit wider than you normally would here. Then keep it tight here. Straight line over all the puddles. Don't have time to go all the way around them. Then we're braking slightly to the inside here as well. Avoid the puddle on the left side on the exit here. Then we got to run with the last chicane coming up. And I like to brake slightly from the middle of the track. Then we take the apex on the left hander, and on the right hander I cut down the dry line a bit for traction up the hill. I would like to cut down a bit here for traction up the hill. Now run it a bit wide through here so we have rotation. And that's the lap around Road Atlanta. Right, so here we are from the outside cam, and let's see if we can spot some things. And I move the camera a bit closer and a bit higher, so a bit away from the spray. Turn 1 here. Again, I don't want to brake all the way on the dry line here. Brake slightly towards the inside of it. Shift down not too early to keep the rear in check. And then we don't want the apex completely on the inside. We want to have 2 tires going on the wet line, 2 tires still on the dry line. If we run all the way outside, we're losing too much time as well. Then coming up the hill, here we just want to keep the car in a straight line going over the puddles on the left side. So we do the normal racing line here, but make sure you're going in a straight line. Once we get to the puddle here, you can't keep turning to follow the curb like you can in the dry. And then from here all the way to turn 5, it's too hard or too far to avoid driving on the dry line. So you drive mostly just on the dry line with a couple exceptions. So this turn here, turn 3, you just take the dry line. You just don't completely end up on the curb on the left side. You want to run a bit wide of it, and then here you start turning in a bit later because there's no grip on the dry line, and you need to straighten the car up. So you need to straighten the car up to the inside here. By the time you get to this curb, the car will only want to go straight. So if you haven't done the rotation before this curb, you're gonna go wide. So we want to do the rotation before this curb, and then from this point here, the car just wants to go straight, especially through here as well. It wants to go completely straight. Same thing here, we just brake on the curb. You can't avoid the dry line here by going all the way on the left side, because then you have to just turn the car too much. You just have to deal with it, and as you can see, the car doesn't really like it. But it's the fastest line. You can go a bit further to the inside here if you want. You can square it up a bit more for a good exit as well. We got double right hander 6 and 7 coming up. Again, I try to brake with 2 tires off the dry line, 2 tires on the dry line. That just gives a bit more braking performance. You want to miss the complete apex here. The further you go outside, the more grip you have, but the longer you have to run. So you want to run fairly close to the pedal on the inside without hitting it. Then again, we just have to brake here on the dry line. Going on the inside is too far away from the line that we want to take through the corner. Just brake a bit earlier. You have to go to the inside, not all the way on the curb, again, because there's water on the inside. And then you want to straighten the car up and avoid hitting the curb on the exit, because it loses your traction. And if you can, avoid this pedal on the left here a bit, so don't run completely through it. I got the back straight coming up into the last chicane. And the last chicane's tricky as well, because you can't brake on the dry line. There's just no grip there at all. So I brake all 4 tires on the inside of it. So the dry line is here, so I leave about a car and a half width on the outside. Then we brake, get to the inside, and you just want to run the inside here through the big pedal. Even clip the grass if you can. I ran a bit wide here. Then square the last corner up, meaning you don't want to run the normal racing line to the outside curb. I want to do most of the turning on the outside here, dry lines here on the outside of the dry line, and then run square over it, and then have the car straighten up on the exit so that 2 tires on the inside here are inside of the dry line, which goes here, which gives me traction going up the hill. And then what normally is a very easy flat out kink is now one of the hardest corners of the track, I think. What I like to do is run it on the outside here, off the power here, and you can see where the dry line is going to the inside. I've got 2 tires off that dry line, and from here they start to grip up. If you go too far on the inside here, the car just wants to go straight. So make sure to run a bit wider or very, very tight. And then by the time you feel the car starting to turn, you see the dry line goes from the inside further to the outside. You can kind of cross over that, and you have enough grip to keep the corner. And that's the lap around a very, very wet and very, very dark road Atlanta. Right, so there we go. That's how to survive around this track and go around faster than your opponents will be. I expect quite a lot of carnage. Not a very high survivability rate, but a lot of fun once you start to learn where the grippy parts of the track are. They're hard to spot, so it will take some time to practice, but it's very, very fun once you get the hang of it. And I want to thank everyone for watching another season of track guides here. And if you want to see more for next season as well, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys for the next season.